Hello, this is Dr. Mewborn, and this is Religion the Public Square. Today we're looking at the midterm review. We've got our midterm coming up this week, and so I wanted to give you a little bit of review. I'm going to go through this very quickly. These are slides that you have already seen from the previous lessons, and so I'm going to run through them pretty quickly with you, but hopefully this lesson as well, or this review as well as a PDF review that you will also get on Moodle, those two things will help you out when preparing for this midterm examination. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. One of the things you need to be able to do is define theocracy, and then also give some examples through Scripture, what that really means, what kind of government is that really, and then also just continuing on with this idea, be able to explain how God is free, God is sovereign, using these verses to do so. And we've gone through that in previous lessons, so you should be able to explain that very well. Talk about why the law is good. Be able to explain that. What are the things, like the law upholds God's standards, it restrains people from sinning, guides people to Jesus, it's a guardian, and it's a teacher. And one of the ways that we see this is through an illustration of a speed limit sign. It tells us how fast we can go. And the purpose of that is to protect people, but also to let us know what is the law. And that sign helps us to do that. And that's what's good about the law. Be able to explain how the law can be misinterpreted. 1 Timothy 1:8 is a very good verse for us to look at. Now we know that the law is good if one uses it lawfully. And so be able to explain about the Pharisees in Matthew 12:1-14, okay? And then know the passage in Romans 13, mainly verses 1-6, but 1-7 would be good, and understand that pretty well, what Romans 13 is actually telling us. And so know that passage pretty well. Also know this passage in Matthew 22 about render unto Caesar those things that belong to Caesar, and of course to God those things that belong to God, and be able to explain that passage very well. And that one of the things that I want you to know is this word sovereignty. How is God sovereign over all nations? And how has that been explained throughout the Scripture and throughout history? And so there's some examples for you there. Also be able to talk about the laws in the Old Testament, the moral laws that's explained here somewhat. Then we go into the ceremonial laws, and then we go into the civil laws and be able to explain the differences between those things, because that'll be important for the test as well. Citizens should be subject to the laws of government except when, and so you need to know the obligation to the law, those types of things. And then this will be an important one on the quiz, of course, or your exam. When is it right to disobey the law? When is it okay to do that? And be able to answer that question very well. Government cannot redeem people. This is one of the things that I'll ask you about. And so a great passage to help understand this is Matthew 21:1-11. Jesus rides into the city of Jerusalem on a donkey. People are thinking he's going to be the new king, but really he's the King of Kings, and he's to save them from their sins, not to save them from the Roman oppression. Okay, and then you need to know the 5 wrong views about Christians and government. And so here they are, they're lined up here. Government should compel religion. That's a wrong view, and so you need to know that. Also, government should exclude religion. That's a wrong view. Number 3, governments are evil and demonic. Be able to understand that. And then do evangelism, not politics, is another wrong view, and that's explained through those slides. And then number 5, do politics, not evangelism, and explain this. Be able to do that as well. These illustrations that I give you in these slides also will help you to be able to hopefully answer everything that's needed for the examination. Here's an example with Charles Sheldon, who was one of the leaders of the social gospel. He started the What Would Jesus Do movement over 100 years ago. And so be able to understand and just kind of make mention of those things on your midterm. All right, then you need to be able to explain how the different perspectives on our book, Christian America, ? There's 4 perspectives there. We've got the first one, which deals with David Barton's perspective, America Distinctly Christian. You need to be able to explain a little bit his thoughts on this. There'll be a question on that. Then also Jonathan Sasse's essay that he wrote called America Religiously Eclectic and Secular, so be able to explain that. And then we go into William Hennard's America Essentially Christian and be able to understand his conclusion here. That's a very important thing for you. And then Daryl Cornett, who was my professor a long time ago when I was working on my Master of Divinity, you need to be able to understand his way of defining and setting parameters for what a Christian nation or country really is. And so understand that essay a little bit, America Partly Christian, be able to give that to me. Then we get a little bit more into government and constitutions and things like that. And so one thing you'll need to be able to do is explain to me the Articles of Confederation, and then what was wrong with the Articles of Confederation? Why did it not work? And so I give you some reasons for that here that you can look at. And then we continue on, what was wrong with it, those types of things. And then the next thing is the Constitution of the United States. What I'd like to see you be able to do is to give me back all the articles of Constitution here. There's 7 of those, and know a little bit about each one, be able to do that for me, kind of just explaining it somewhat. The next thing I'd like is if you could explain the difference between a democracy and a republic, and you see that very clearly in this slide. It's very, very simple. So if you can help and give me that, and then also explain the 3 branches of government. You have those here, so that's very important as well. And then as we go forward, you see that the federal office terms and requirements. I need you to know these and be able to give these things back to me, okay? And then one of the things that I'll ask of you is to be able to label or list the names of the President of the United States, or the titles, roles of the President of the United States. And so I've given those to you there, all right? The last thing that I'm going to ask you to do in this, as you prepare for your exam, is to be able to give me the topic for your paper. That'll be one of the questions. And then also, I'm going to need you to explain a little bit to me about your paper and maybe why you're writing on that paper, okay? All right, well, that is our review. I know it's short, but you also are going to have a PDF to look at as well, okay? And so I'll be sending those to you very shortly, all right? Well, God bless you, and bless you in your studies, okay? Take care and have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.